Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Going Nuclear. I'm here with a very special guest, Larissa Noudem. We're going to be talking about some interesting topics, and it's going to be a really fun discussion here at the JAIF, Japanese Atomic Industrial Forum. Welcome, Larissa.
Hi, Osama. I'm very glad to be with you today again,
Welcome
and
back. Yeah,
very glad to be here in Tokyo for this very exciting conference.
I guess the topic we're talking about today is serendipity, right? Like being out there in places unplanned, okay?
Exactly.
Whether it be conferences, extracurriculars, different nuclear societies. I think we're both believers, big believers in the power that comes with putting yourself out there, and that's something that's not necessarily planned or scheduled,
Exactly.
but can lead to something much greater. So tell us a little bit about your background in nuclear. What does serendipity mean to you?
Yeah, so I can tell you a little bit about my story in the nuclear industry and how I get there. Actually, I didn't plan to be a nuclear engineer first. I know for some people, since they were born, they knew that they want to do that, but it wasn't my case. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. At some point, I wanted to be in the military. At some point, I wanted to be a doctor. But at the end of the high school, I had a pretty clear idea. I was very good at physics. I really want to go for something in physics. And I decided that I wanted to be a cosmetology engineer. I basically wanted to work for L'Oreal to do some shampoo formulation in chemistry. I really wanted to work in a lab as a chemistry engineer for L'Oreal. I wanted to create something like that. So after high school, I end up in H&D in measurement and physics. Um, and this training is amazing because it's 2 years, very intense, but you go through all the physics and chemistry, different aspe- um, the different discipline of physics and chemistry, optic, mechanics, electrical engineering, a lot, including nuclear. And I've met with my nuclear physics teacher. And this is when I start to draw myself or see myself, picture myself as a nuclear engineer. But it wasn't like on my first choice, I would say. Um, so yeah, during this agent in physics, I was in internship. I did an internship in radiation protection at a hospital in a medical service at the hospital, and it was just wow. I never heard about that before. I discovered everything. I knew nothing about the regulation, what was the purpose, but it was just amazing. And what was the most amazing was the people in radiation protection. And yeah, I was saying it's really much about people that I've met. The person who oversees me, my teacher also at school really encouraged me to go and pursue in this sense. When I defend my thesis at the end of this internship, my favorite teacher, which was my nuclear engineering teacher, came to me and asked me, "Okay, I really like the work that you've done. Can I use it for next year for my class?" And I was like, "Of course, of course." So that really gives me
Confidence.
confidence in myself, and I really appreciated teachers. So after this internship, it was time for me to decide which school am I going to apply, and I had just had one thing in my mind. It was okay. I just spent 3 months in this service, and I enjoyed very much. I learned so much, and I'm rewarded for that. So I want to pursue. I want to pursue. And it wasn't really much about nuclear, but most about radiation and physics and radiation protection, basically. So I apply for any school who can provide me like this radiation protection further education in radiation protection and to become kind of a radiation protection engineer. And there were only two in France back at the time. Actually, it was only two nuclear engineering um, diploma. So I apply and yeah, I end up in this in at school in this school as a to be a nuclear engineer program. So it was very interesting.
That's phenomenal. That's a really cool journey. Um, and I guess tell me about your tell me about how important you think it is for young professionals to be involved. Is it just like, hey, focus on your studies, or do you think it's also there's also benefits in being involved in organizations
Yeah,
other than just having a title to put on your resume? Tell
that
us about that.
that's a great question. I think you really touched something because most people they go to school, they want to get a degree, to get a title, to be hired and to work. But sometimes they don't really know what is around. They know what is at work, they know what is in the internship, what is at school, but what is around? How's how's the system work? How's the environment, the overall environment of the sector, and get the bigger picture. And I think this is something I'm curious, and for this reason, I decided that okay, I want to know more. What is that? What is that? So that's how I knew about women in nuclear. I was still that was still during my engineering degree. My teacher taught about it, and I was like, that sounds cool. Back at the time, I didn't even realize, like, really realize, oh, there's a gender inequality. I wasn't aware of that. I was more like, yeah, we're 100 something students, we're five girls, okay. But it wasn't like, oh, I'm pissed about that. It was okay, that's how it works, maybe. I don't know. I was very young, so very naive or whatever. And I didn't realize like there's bias behind that and so on. And when I heard about women in nuclear, I say, okay, why? Why is there a woman in nuclear? Why is it important? So I'm going to reach out to those people. When you're a student, it costs almost nothing to be in the organization. So I joined the organization. After my engineering degree, I knew about the youth organization as well. And being curious really helps me in connecting with people and understand my environment and what is the nuclear bigger picture, at least in my country at first, and then maybe in other countries and uh, now globally, thankfully, thanks to some some meetings that I've met, some people that I've met, or some opportunities that I had because I was involved in those organizations. So I really believe when you're a student or when you're a young engineer, you're a young professional, whatever is your field, it's always very important to understand, okay, what are the organization like civil servant or nonprofit organization around? What are they doing? What is the ecosystem and how is it working? I think is really key to perform better first, to get the connection. Uh, to be honest, thanks to some of the connection that I've met um, during conferences or any other events, I've been able to solve some problem at work because, oh, I knew about this person. He works in this kind of facility. They were doing that. We talked about it. Okay, maybe that's something I can apply in my work. RP is very technical as well. So, for example, in today's conference, there is one of the company that we're working with because they're providing devices for RP. So that's really important to know more about the ecosystem, I would say.
Tell me about like that international exposure, right? I feel like you have a lot of international exposure. How has it what role has it played in your self development as a professional in the nuclear industry?
In my work, that's not necessary. I mean, I guess in none. I mean, most of the nuclear engineer that I know, they don't need to get this um, international exposure to perform or to work for the daily work. However, getting this international exposure helps me in, as I said, more than the understanding, but also problem solving. Like when I'm thinking of a problem, I'm thinking more globally. Okay, in France, for example, the regulation don't allow me to do that. First, why is that? And second, what's happened overseas? And the good thing is I have colleagues from overseas now. I knew them, we're connected. through groups, WhatsApp, direct contact, because we had the opportunity to meet and to say, oh, you're actually an RP engineer as well, but you're working in this country or for this facility. Oh, that's very interesting. Sometimes it's just years after that you realize, oh, I need to contact this person, but you would never know about the person or the technology or the solution or whatever if you never went to this conference and engage and network and connect with this person. So it's really all about, okay, getting this international exposure helps me in bringing new perspective, I would say, to my daily work, uh, and really matching problem solving. I can testify that it helps me for certain thing. Especially, I'm working in managing the nuclear waste, or yeah, the nuclear waste, and sometimes. I've solved some problem thanks to some of the connection I've made from those different events.
Super underrated. One example that's kind of similar to yours is I was involved in a project where we had to develop innovative, very unique solutions for specific application, like cutting cutting a pressure vessel of a nuclear reactor using lasers. Okay, and I had actually been
My RP brain is getting
inspired.
inspired.
Yeah, and so I was going to Japan actually that year for the IYNC conference.
Yes.
So what I did was there was a reactor in Japan where they had been doing tests with laser technology for cutting. And so I reached out to Japanese young generation in nuclear, said, "Hey, can you get me in touch with JEA just to uh, understand where that technology has progressed?" And so they sent me a whole report in Japanese, which I translated and then made a presentation to my executives. And I said, "Hey, listen, this is a very promising technology. We should explore it." And so without that international connection, I would never have gotten that report. So
Yeah.
it is definitely, like, very, very helpful.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's phenomenon how important it is, because we're definitely building our own network. And I think most people, especially when you're young, but you don't realize that even the friends that you meet, they're more than friends. They're also potential coworkers. That's your network. That's people maybe you'll be able to rely on, or to call for some of your professional life as well. They can play a role in your professional life for sure. So that's really important to cultivate that, to be in good relationship with people. I'm curious, as I said, and I would just encourage people to be curious of this. Just, okay, what's here? What's happening? As you really and they're doing thing as you did. Oh, I'm going to contact them and ask them. They could say no. Okay, if they say no, then you lose nothing because you have nothing. But
Exactly.
they said yes, you get the report and you can show it to your executive. So that's a lot. That's a lot of time as saving also.
I think one thing is underrated is, a lot of people have questions around, like, "Hey, is social media, is that even relevant to making connections?"
Yeah.
Okay? And I'm a big proponent of yes, it is. Okay?
Yes,
I'm
it
a
is.
big believer in that. Like, I think WhatsApp, yeah, is, like, number 1 for international, like, connections.
Best app ever.
Tell me about that. Like, what does that look like when interfacing with international colleagues? Like, how do you communicate with them?
WhatsApp.
Yeah.
WhatsApp is formal and informal at the same time.
Yeah.
So sending an email, it's always very it's always very different from WhatsApp, because when you're reaching out someone from WhatsApp, it's very informal. So you can say, "Hey, I have this problem. Can you help me?" Let me give you an example. In the WIN Global Young Generation Network, so we have a big WhatsApp group and smaller WhatsApp group. However, and we have this big WhatsApp group, and time to time, the girls are just sending messages like, "Hey, girls, I'm finalizing my thesis, and there's a question that I have. Can someone answer it, or does someone has any elements to share with me?" And it works. It works for real. Sometimes it's not even thesis, sometimes it's for work. I remember, I think it was a few years ago, a friend of mine, she's basically a friend. I met her at I went to Italy too, in Japan as well. And she asked in this group, and she asked, "Is there anyone could help me with some French policy thing, especially regarding retirement?" Because they were trying to evaluate. She's from Taiwan. They were trying to evaluate in different countries how the retirement system works and what is the impact on the workers and especially the nuclear workers. Is there like early retirement policy for nuclear workers and things like that? So I provide her with what I knew, and I just tell her like if she need more information, I can put her in contact with someone else. And finally, it really helps her for what she was trying to do. She was supposed to report for her management, and she was very happy about it. For me, it was nothing very complicated. It's mostly like how the retirement system work in France, which is crazy. But yeah, basically, sometimes it's as simple as that. So, and that was through WhatsApp. That's why to answer your question, that was totally through WhatsApp. Like she sent a message, "Can someone help me with the French regulation?" And I'm like, "Okay." Then you reply. Then she said she asked her a question. I'm searching and answering, and it's very easy for her. I sent her some links, so she had the sources, and she can just search by herself. She can just explore more and do something more concrete. But the first entry point was WhatsApp, and most probably it would have been more difficult if she sent that by email. There's always a barrier. Email, there's always a barrier, whatever is the age of the person and so on. I think my email, this is always too formal. So if I'm replying by email, I have to structure my reply to make it like look very professional. And this is time consuming when WhatsApp is very easy on the go. And a lot is happening through that. A lot of our colleagues, as you know, we're in contact through WhatsApp. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think WhatsApp is amazing because you can just send a picture as an update, right? You're like, "Hey, here's a picture." Like I have a international colleague from IYNC, and I was at the University of Michigan,
Yeah.
and I know she was an alumni there.
Okay.
And so I sent her a quick picture. I'm like, "Hey, I'm here at the University of Michigan." And she's like, "Wow, you should connect with this professor." And immediately I'm like, "Okay, where is he located?" Like, tell sends her to his office, knocked on his door. And yeah, you're right. Like, but the email, it would never have been the case,
Yes.
right? So I definitely think like WhatsApp is just on the tips of your fingers. You can reach out, and I think that's where the serendipity element comes in,
Mm.
where you're making things happen by you know connecting with each other and not really expecting and scheduling
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
but they just
Happening.
hmm,
They're just happening. You're right. I think there's a real momentum and phenomenon that is very difficult to explain, by the way. But getting through event like this one or engaging with people, whether you know them already and you just reconnect and share the updates and then there's something that pop up in your mind or they have a specific thing and you can help or they can help you, whatever. Or is meeting new people. Today's I've met at least two new people that might be from your country or in your area and that's real through and engaging physically directly with someone is always very different from okay, someone talked to me about you, can I contact you and so on and so on. So and you never know what is going to give later. I have some really great story where like I have a friend. I mean, yeah, that's my friend. From the at least two, by the way, from the Wing Global Young Generation. Um, we connected through event. Then we met. Then we met. We talked a lot, and I've been to both of their weddings. So it's really like you never know what is going to give a few years or few months later, whether it's yeah having something very unique as a wedding or going somewhere together, going in vacation, or that could be a lot of things, or for work purposes, but you don't know. So if you're comfortable, just nourish this. Try to embrace that in your daily or not daily, but in your work that could be going to conference, even if it's a local conference, at least once or twice a year. No need to go for every international conference, but trying at least at your own scale to see what with your management what is acceptable for them, what is doable. But there's always some benefits from my personal experience.
Mm. Has there been any connection that you've made uh, in the conferences that you visited or any of the initiatives that you're engagement that changed the trajectory of your career?
Um, yeah, yeah, definitely. I've changed my work basically because, not because, but essentially because I have been mentored by someone that I have met. And yeah, I think that that's definitely changed because this person give me new perspective. Not that this person helps, like, told me, oh, you have to change work, or no, it was just, okay, what do you want to do? What do you like? Where do you picture yourself in a few years? And how do you want to achieve that? What do you think would be the good path, or a good path to achieve it? And when you realize that, when you think about it, you're just, oh, okay. And then you see some opportunities and you consider them, some opportunities that maybe you wouldn't have considered before. So yeah, I think it's important, and connecting with people definitely change some of the perspective on my own personal career journey. Yeah.
I think same for me. I think like there's certain things you do in the industry or whether it be with women in nuclear or other organizations that are very unique,
Yeah.
right? So I think like for me on social media or as an educator,
Yeah.
it's something that not many have done in the past.
Yeah.
And so there were some that like there was a Canadian industry professional. His name is Jeremy Whitlock, and he created a website back in the day, which is called Nuclear FAQ. Has all of the information about nuclear reactors and CANDU, and he was kind of like the originator of like creating an online platform, like a website, which was very new back in the day, and then uploading all that information there, right?
Okay, I see.
And when I was in high school, or sorry, when I was in university, I used to go on his website to get very like informative, good information. And so when I reconnected with him, he was just so happy to reconnect with me. He's like, "Hey, listen, you're doing the 2.0 version, the future version of what I did."
Oh, well, he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And so for me, that contact was just like, holy cows! Like I can learn so much from you. Like I've learned so much from you, even in creating the videos. So yeah, I think like the power of like the internet and making internet friends is just it's life changing.
Definitely. You talked about social media like WhatsApp, but not only. You have YouTube. I think you are doing a great job. I can name also, I think, is Elena. She's from KTH in Sweden. She's a PhD student, and she's basically she had, I think, 8,000 followers on YouTube.
Oh wow, okay,
Yesterday I watched her video. Basically, it's entertaining me,
nice.
but in a good way. I think she was at MIT for some thing. Uh, I think that what you're doing, guys, is very important because it goes with the new form of communication, and it's really important to adapt, especially in our field, and especially that in nuclear, communicant were not always the best. So I think it's important right now to adapt and to see new people, new trend, new ways of communication coming. LinkedIn, Instagram. A lot of people are doing very, very good job there right now. I think there's a lot of good content, and it really deserves to be spread out as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think there's space for like maybe a workshop to teach people the tools of like how to use social media properly. Because
That's
for me,
phenomenon. Please do it.
this is a good idea because for me, it really it took me a lot of time to figure out how to use social media in a professional way, right? Like in school, you learn how to write an email.
Yeah,
That's standard. But then there's also ways to engage with people informally that isn't really taught in school. You have to learn over time.
I definitely agree with you. Please do this workshop. Whatever the platform, I'll support you. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Talking about that, I had this. By the way, I don't know if you remember, but I suggest that to drive at some point. But I think it's also very important in such conferences, like very high level conferences, to have a dedicated spot for youth. And my vision will be for youth to talk about social engagement, because people do not realize how much work and effort. For example, what is the YouTube video requests? I'm pretty sure they're like, oh yeah, they just took their phone and, oh, that's very easy. That's not that easy. You know, trust me, that's a lot of effort. But um, really not for the non-young generation, but other generation, to understand what is our social impact and how do we impact and how do we outreach, whether it's through social media. But there's also the youth organization are doing a lot of work as well, and this work has an impact whether it's locally, internationally. So that's really important, I think, to outreach that. And I think that will be like a reverse learning. Like we're learning a lot from people in those kind of conference and expert as a young professional. But I think that would be also good for maybe for us not to teach, but at least to show them or present them uh what is the work or what we're doing that works. You mentioned social media. We have a lot of figures out there. That's not specifically doing social media, but sometimes just communication in general. And it's really effective. I also have in mind, I think, is the NAYGN, a book. I think it's genius. They have this book for children. Those books, by the way, I think those are not the books. I think it's genius, and that's really deserve to have a bright audience.
Absolutely. I think there's one aspect of um, having a network, which is having a lot of connections. Okay, quantity, but then there's a quality of connections that you have, and it's very difficult to maintain connections and relationships. Okay, because you have life that's going on, you have work priorities, you have social priorities, you have a relationship, you have fitness. You so many. We're balanced. We're balance of many things.
We're imbalancing everything.
Yeah. So how do you maintain like the quality of those connections? What's tell us the secret there.
Secret, I don't know, but what I can tell you is that some of my best connection will they're very natural. I think there's just something of it's like falling in love. There's just something of chemistry. It's just about I genuinely appreciate this person for what she is or he is. Uh, really as a friend, like I really appreciate this person. We really had a great conversation. With some people you meet, okay, you have like a very polite conversation, and okay, uh, okay, you can reconnect later if there's a work purpose or something specific. But most probably you won't maintain a connection with them. And I think it's important to be very transparent, uh, and to stick with your own values also. And okay, I really appreciate this person. I don't have like a specific reason why. We just have this, and okay. And naturally you will want to talk with this person. Whether is
It's not forced.
yeah, please do not force connection. They're made by themselves. Uh, as everything in life, as friendship, as relationship, as everything else, it's like at work. You don't you're not very friend with everyone. Some of your colleague, you might have some preferences. It's the same. Um, just be yourself, and naturally, there will have people with whom you have a very strong connection, and those people with whom you don't have like a very strong connection. It happened that I really have strong connection with very very like interesting person. I'm very glad of that, but it's not forced. Really, that's something that is important. Do not force connection. It just come by itself.
Mhm. That's good to know. That's good to know. Yeah, I definitely think yeah, there is something that's natural about hey having friendships with
Exactly.
people across the world. And
Yeah.
there's certain certain values and certain just a certain like energy that you give off that
Exactly.
it's easy to maintain that.
Yeah. And I think there are also some things like don't just like not to judge anyone, uh, and to be open minded. That's really random, but that's really true. Um, Certain people might have, I don't know, some stereotypes or But no, especially when you go in international conferences, I'm thinking about you're just meeting the whole world physically. So just go with an open mind, because you might think, oh, this country, those people are like that, or no, just go with your open mind. You'll be very surprised. You'll learn a lot. People will tell you story from their own country, uh, crazy thing. You'll spend very good time. The social, like the informal part, the social part of the conferences, I think that's maybe something we didn't explore, but that's maybe the most important. Like, okay, we're at the conference, but the most important will be the lunch, the breaks, the dinner. That's where you're really engaging with people. You're talking with them. You're laughing with them, and that's why they remember you and you remember them. So if you just have an open mind, that would be easier, most probably, and you will engage with more people, and naturally you will have very strong relationship to create.
I think one thing that I really love about building relationships is actually doing projects together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think one, and it might sound a little bit transactional, but I think at the end of the day, it's amazing to build things together. I love doing that. I think, are there any uh, network? Sorry, are there any connections that you've made which led to development of some sort of a program or some sort of, tell us about those initiatives that have come out from these relationships that you've made.
Definitely. Definitely, definitely. I think you're right. Actually, most of the initiative that I'm doing, that's really how it works. Uh, that's not transactional. I think both. I think when you're really good with someone, you want to work with this person, and naturally, at some point, you'll be like, "Hey, let's do something together," or you will present what you're doing to this person, and this person will say, "Hey, I'm in," or if you need me, let me know, and you'll be like, "Okay, I know he's or she's doing good job. Let's work together. Let's build something. She has this specific skill, or so I think it's normal to consider the person is in your side circle. That's just natural. Um, so yeah, what can I? Yeah, I can tell you. For example, right now, we are so with Win Global Young Generation. We are developing three programs. We have developed three programs actually. The first program is called Inspire program. So everything is in the name, but this is an educative program. What we're doing is we're reaching out to experts to give us some lectures. Last year, we partners with the Win Global group of expertise. There's 9 group of expertise, and all of them give us a dedicated lecture just to give people a general understanding. I was mentioning the ecosystem. So we had the Cycle Life CEO, for example. We had some top expert in non-proliferation, decommissioning. So a lot of different topics just for participant to understand a little bit more on the different specificity of nuclear and discipline. For this year, we decided to go with two, let's say, two part of this same program. The topic are slightly different. The first one, which is actually currently running, is on digital technology. I'm so proud of that because it's what are the different digital technologies? What I'm talking about, machine learning, AI, um, blockchains. There's a lot of technologies, and how could we apply them to nuclear? It's general information. It's not like we're going to graduate, but still. And the second part will be on clean energy technologies. And for the second program, clean energy technology, we are partnering with people that I've luckily met in conferences. For example, I want to mention Jadwiga because I think the first time I've met her was at, I went to 2022, most probably, or around that time. Um, we became friends because of, I don't know, but we became friends. And right now we decided to work together for the second program. It's going to be like a joint initiative, and that's going to serve as the Nuclear for Climate um, training program, as well as a just general program for anyone who wants to know more about the clean energy, because not only nuclear is a clean energy, there's all other clean energy sources. So what are they? How do they work? So we're going to outreach some experts to talk to us about it.
That's phenomenal.
So I've met her. We became friends, and it's only, I don't know, few years, 4 years after, 2 years after that, we decided to have something together, to actually do something together. But because I know that it's on our both of our interests. Yeah.
For sure. I honestly think this is what's gonna save the international nuclear industry. I think these connections that we're making, I think in the long run, like we will like these are channels that we're making that will be used for these mega projects, right? The only way we can succeed in optimizing cost and lessons learned is by making sure the industry is more interconnected.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that what we're doing, we're really leading a very unique um, generation
Yeah.
that is gonna have the resources
Yeah.
and it's gonna have the time uh, to to actually execute the next nuclear renaissance.
I think we're building bridges. I literally think that right now the young generation in nuclear globally, it's literally building bridges. Um, it's not really normal for us to, I don't know, call someone in Tokyo for something, or to connect people. Like, okay, I connect Osama from Canada with, I don't know, someone from Australia, or this is connection which are very unique, and we never saw that before, or I never saw that before. So I think, yeah, I think we're definitely on a different ways of doing things. We'll see if it works. I really believe that that is going to work first, because we don't really have a choice.
Yeah, we don't have a choice. We don't have to do that.
Yeah, that needs to work. But except that, yeah, I really think and it's also our own way to do things. I believe that the previous generation, they were more in a formal way of things. If they want to connect people together, they will send like a very formal email. Oh, I introduce you to this person, etc., etc. For us, it's more like, okay, well, I send you this WhatsApp number. It's literally that, but
100%.
the result will be the same. However, this is our way of doing things, and I think it's just different, but hopefully it's also very effective. So we'll see what it gives, but I'm very optimistic. And yeah, we're in a very, very unique time, and the nuclear renaissance has a big role to play. We have a big role to play in the nuclear renaissance, and we carry that on our shoulder, but in a good way. I'm not like with pressure. I don't know if you feel some pressure. I don't really feel pressure. I feel honored and excited. I'm like, okay, I'm at the beginning of something. When, to be honest, when I was in engineering school, when I chose nuclear, back in the day, it was 10 years, a little bit more than 10 years ago, but um, it wasn't trendy. The nuclear renaissance didn't begin at this time. People were like, why are you going for nuclear? Like, what are you going to the bomb? And no, there's a lot of other things to do there. So um, but yeah, right now, I think that became trendy, and we really have to carry that on our shoulder, and to spread the word across the world is very important.
Awesome. Well, this was really awesome discussion. We covered a lot of really good points. Really enjoyed this chat. Thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you, Osama.